Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few different things. I'm definitely going to talk about timeline jumping again, but there was a couple things I want to talk about before I get to that, I guess. Is, for one thing, my car. Let's talk about the car. Because this is one of those things where you got to just let go and just be like, okay, the universe has a plan. And like I said, I don't know if the plan is to keep me from driving, and that doesn't necessarily mean like something bad is going to happen like where at my destination, but that could be it. But it could also be something that's going to happen on my route, or something that's going to happen so that it would cause a problem for me to get home or something, which it could all be fixed today. I don't know. But so, it's so weird too. Is like, because you start replaying, it's like you replay history when something happens, and you go back through it with a fine-tooth comb looking for all the errors. And then when you know more, you see more. And so it was, because it was right after I had first got the car, and it was when my ex, my daughter still lived here, and my ex had come to see her, and I think I told him that there was a leak in my car. I think there was water dripping on me or something. And so he was looking, and he found this little drain, and it was all full. And he said it was totally weird. It was weird how they had it. He said it was very convoluted how it was set up, and how strange it was, and it was so stopped up. And so he cleared it all out, and he kept washing it, and made it so it was clear. And so then he was the one who told me, this is you're gonna have to have this car garaged or something. You need a carport or something, a garage or something. So I got that carport. And so then the car was into the carport, and that wasn't happening. I think it was still probably filling up those tubes. I don't know. I don't know how long they take to fill or whatever. And then I live in the forest, so it's easy to fill them up. And so, and it's weird too, because you would think, how much of this stuff is big enough to go up in there? Like it fills up with junk. Like, when I think about like all the yard debris and stuff, it's like pine needles and stuff. I don't know. So, um, so anyways, then, storm after storm, just kicking our ass on the storms, and the extreme ice and snow. And so the first year, the carport did okay, and I was surprised. I was really surprised. The snow was so piled up on it, and I was like, "Fuck, this thing's gonna fall on my car." And so by the second year, I think I was a lot more relaxed about it, and then it started back with the snow again. I was like, because at that point, then, I knew we were under assault with the weather. And so I was like, fuck, this carport's not going to make it. And I don't know if that was my soul telling me, or, that's the thing with intuition and the psychic abilities and stuff. And then where you would have some people say, well, you created it, you made it happen that way. Okay, that's what we're going to talk more about in this timeline journey. But so this, uh, so anyways, the, oh my gosh, Stella, she sees me get it all set up. She gets herself comfortable, like, okay, well, that's what we're in for. Okay, let me just give her some medicine. Leave that with Karma. Here, I'm doing it. I'm going to give you some medicine, but then I'm working. And you're going to have to just sit there and hush up. We've gone through everything in the morning. Like, been out, fed, water. So I didn't give her more medicine, so we'll see if that does anything. So, okay. So then the storm came. I don't even remember when it was. Was it this year or about early in the winter time? It must have been. Man, it's all just going into such a blur. Like, it's just becoming just this blur. It's like there was Groundhog Day, just blurs. And, but whatever it was, and the snow didn't even get as deep, but the carport thing stretches more. And so it had gone down, and I couldn't get these pieces of ice they like went down into the side thing, and so I don't know if that added to the problem or whatever. But I think I cleared it, and then there was another snowstorm, and it just collapsed the whole thing. So the I don't know what part, the carport part didn't rip. The whole thing, it just pulled it all down on top of my car, which that's like a wreck. It's all that weight and that ice and stuff, and it crashed down, and so it smashed my windshield. It broke something with the sunroof because I couldn't roll it back and forth, so it did something. I'm not sure what. And then the back, it had a big dent in it, but it didn't go through. But I don't know, if it caused some other problems. But it has like a dent on the top of my car in the back part. And then the front, I got a new windshield and stuff. And so, and then I had no carport. I cleaned it up. And I'm trying to think, did I go through this whole winter with no carport? Or was it just from the beginning to the end? Because this winter is, I don't know if this winter is what did my car in, or if this has had a long-term problem, and we're just, well, I'm just finding it as this owner, because when you buy a used car, they sure the fuck don't tell you shit. Nobody passes on stuff. Nobody has integrity. Even the person who's trading the car in the first place, they don't want the other people to know that there's a problem. So it just sets us all up for this domino effect of problem after problem after problem because of the lack of integrity in our society. And that's why we all have to pick up the ball and start putting ourselves out there and taking risks and being truthful and being honest and having fucking morals and integrity and scruples and stuff, especially in business and stuff. So anyways, the carport fell and crashed on it, and so I didn't have one for how many ever storms it was, because I kept seeing all this weird stuff that was going on with the car. It was filling up with water in the back, and I hadn't even realized I was driving. It was like slosh, slosh, slosh. I'm like, what the hell is that? And then I find like the back, it's got like a little ocean back there, and it kept doing it, doing it, doing it. I ordered a shop vac, and it just kept doing it, and I was putting things over the car to try and block it. Like I was putting bags and stuff over it, trying to make it where it wouldn't leak, but I didn't know where the leak was. So what the mechanic said, there's 4 of those tubes, 4 of those leading into the sunroof, and they were all blocked, and they were blocked so bad that it was just like when it rained, it was just the water was going straight into my car. And so he so, whatever the problem, like whatever the stuff I don't even remember, like, because it was, oh yeah, because it was just like it was like a couple weeks before I got my explant. So I was already on the explant thing. And the only thing that my car was doing at that point was the locks. Like I would be driving and I couldn't get the back door to unlock, or then suddenly I would be driving and it would unlock itself and just like open itself. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm not gonna be able to drive with Stella in the back anymore. She's gonna have to sit in the back seat. Like, fuck, that's dangerous. But all the time when I would be driving, I would always be worried that that would happen because of my cousin falling out of the car when I was a little kid. I just have a big awareness of falling out on the freeway thing. And that it happened. So it happened in our family. And it just happened to some girl too. It just happened like last week. And I keep seeing reports about that. She was just gotten in the car and she was sitting talking to her mom, and she fell out the car door on the highway. And so, but anyways, that happened to my cousin. And then she ended up dying on the road when she was 19, which to me is trippy. Like that would be something to me, like if I was doing science experiments and stuff, I would be paying attention to these encounters through people's lives in this repetitive nature. So anyways, so she, the locks were doing that funky thing, and my car wasn't, like when I would plug my phone in, it kept saying it wasn't plugged in. And so that wasn't working. And so I kept thinking that was maybe the plug or something like that. Oh yeah, and then a long while ago, my key fob thing stopped working. Like none of my locks on my car had worked, and so I could never lock my car. And one of the ways to fix that is just don't leave a bunch of stuff in there you don't want stolen. But also, I live out where, I mean, people's cars do get broken into out here all the time. But to me, it's the ones that are easy to get to. Like mine, you have to go through a spooky, sit in the dark in the forest part. And the only light you would have would be the security light that you wouldn't want to come on. So, and you'd have to go through a fence and a gate. So, but some people's cars are all just sitting out. So those ones do get broken into. But anyways, but when I would have to go to town and stuff, so, and it's kind of a hassle because like if you go get groceries and stuff, but after years, you're just like, whatever. And there's like nothing you can do about it. I mean, if somebody comes up and runs and steals all my groceries when I run in the post office, and I guess it was meant to happen. They were needing food, and so I supplied it. But anyways, none of that stuff ever happened. And but those were the only things that were going wrong with my car. And then trying to think, because it was like my focus was, well, I've got the focus of what's going on here all the time. And like, am I moving? Am I like, what am I, like what's going on in the world with where we're living and all the storms and stuff. And then the going to see my family when the weather got better, and then the explant, that was a huge focus for a couple of months, was the explant. And then once it was all set up and I got the appointment and stuff, then that's when the hazard lights started going. And then I was like, I had that whole moral dilemma there that, oh, choose myself or choose the car, what do I do? But I knew I was going to choose me, because back in my old life, I would have chosen the car, and this is like the fucking drain that you go into. So I chose me, and then once that was all done and I was healed and stuff, then I got the appointment to get the car in. And because you have to have a big amount of money. I'd already gone up and talked to him. I already knew it was going to cost a lot. And so, because when the hazard lights wouldn't go off, I went up and talked to him and showed him. And he said, it's probably one of those module things. It's going to be expensive. And so I knew what I was in for. I knew it was going to be an expensive thing. And so then, but I didn't know all of this stuff. Like, so anyways, I got the car in there, and that's when I start finding out, like, oh, where he's like, well, this isn't even worth fixing. Like, your car has no, like, it's going to cost more to fix it than your car's worth. And at the same time, I have the insurance just jacking itself up thing, like, we've got to pay these huge prices for cars that had no value. Like, it's such absurd bullshit in this system where we all have to say, this is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit. But we all have to do it together. And it's like all of us are popping off. But it's going to be enough where, the popcorn in the pan, like right now it's just the ones popping off. But the pan will fill with all the popcorn. We'll all pop off. We just have to have something, that matters to us hit us. And that's what we are encountering with this awakening. That's why it's kind of tedious, especially when you see how broken everybody is and how disconnected and how much abuse they're willing to take, how much they're willing of their own freedom to give up. So we have all of that stuff that we are seeing, but that is what changes humanity, because we can't be this dependent, raggedy race of species. Like, we have to get our shit together, man. And what do we stand for? Who are we? What are we about? And so, that's what this awakening is all about. And so, going through all the tediousness of it, I don't remember, because I'm going back on the car thing. So so then once it was in there and he was working on it, and I said, well, I did take it home for a week or whatever, and I was like trying to decide what to do. and I was looking up vans, and I was talking to my kids, and I was like, man, do I put the money in, just get something else that would be more comfortable, and then plus something I could sleep in, like when I went and traveled. And so I was like, man, trying to decide about that. And then it's like, fuck, any of the ones that I could afford, they're all going to be probably have big problems like this. And then it's like, fuck. So then it's like, I just need to fix this car. And then start figuring out, like, if I'm going to get a camper or whatever, because I need to spend more money on one than just, or a van or whatever, like a camper van, than just how much it is going to be to fix a car. And so I was like, I just got to fix the car. I'm still paying on it and all that stuff. So, that's what I had decided and talked to them. And so then they said that they're going to, do the stuff with the module thing. So the whole thing is it's very, I don't know if it's because it's a Volvo or what, but I think that's part of it. But it's all these specialized, expensive parts, but then putting them off and on and having to set them and stuff is a whole thing. And so you have to go to certain places. Not every mechanic has these specialized machines to be able to do this. There's only 2 out here in my area that even have it. And so they were trying to see about him taking it off and then sending it to one of these people. Well, all these people are all backed up and stuff, I guess, apparently, and it was going to be expensive. So then they found this place over in Canada who would rebuild it. So they took my part off. Oh no, it was because of the back order. That's what it was, because then the part's on back order. And then I'm talking to the neighbor, and he said once they put an older car's part on back order, it stays on back order for like a year, but then they'll all of a sudden say, well, it's obsolete. They don't make that part anymore. So you have to have the parts rebuilt. And so my mechanic sent these guys in Canada, and they were getting the part rebuilt. So this was all the stuff was happening, but to me, this is how the universe works. Like, you got this person telling you this, and then at the same time, this has happened. Like, it's all this stuff. So, so the mechanic must know too, like, parts go obsolete, and if I really wanted to fix it. So he put in the effort and time while his girl did it or whatever, and found this place that would rebuild it, and so sent it over there. And then I said, it's like this, it's so specialized, all these things, like they'll send it that far. And so once those people got it, they called them and said that it shows no codes, and it shows water damage, though. This part is obviously water damaged, but it's not throwing any codes, so we can't fix it. And so we'll sell you a refurbished one. So they said, okay, yeah, let's buy the refurbished one. So that's extra money. But I still, once they told me, I was like, well, that was a good choice, because, yeah, I would have said to do that anyways. So they got the rebuilt one, and it's coming. And so then they said it would only take a few minutes. It's just like a plug-in thing. And he said, well, could you check all the fluids too, because I want to go on this road trip right quick. And she said, yeah, I'll put that on the thing. And so then Monday came, and I thought, oh, the part's probably not there Monday. It probably won't be there till Tuesday. So I'll give it till Tuesday. I won't call Monday, because I was probably rushing it. And so then, so yesterday I called, and I think I called, I didn't see the UPS guy go by, but I was thinking he's got to have gone by now. And so I called, because I was thinking they've got to have gotten their delivery. And so she said, oh, well, actually, we got it yesterday, and he's been working on your car this whole time. He can't, there's something else wrong. And then too, when I talk to her, it's like a funeral person or something. Like her voice, everything changes. It's like, dun, dun, dun. It's like the end of your car. And you're already invested all this money, and we hate to break it to you. Like, it's just like, what? Oh, God, this is so... But this is where you got to keep trusting the universe. And I know so many people, I see video after video, people crying, the universe hates me, the universe hates me. If anything bad can happen, it's going to happen to me. And I know I was there too. I was in that same place at a certain time in my life. So I'm not shaming these people. I'm just saying the difference of where you go and where you can get to. And so, I, so now, um, all yesterday, so he'd been working on all yesterday, like I don't even know how much this is going to cost. He pulled out my seat, and she said, all he's just finding is water damage and corrosion, which I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what the problem is now. I thought I just had to have that part plugged in, and it was going to be fine, but something's not fine. And then I think about the problems, and I think about, man, I was driving this car, like, what is the problem? And I have no idea. And so I called back later in the afternoon, and she's like, still working on it. It's like, your car's in this surgery. It's an ICU or something. And so, oh, we're still working on it. And then plus the whole way she sounds is like somebody's really breaking bad news to you. It's like, oh my God. And so I've already given 1,200 too. So it's like, I mean, I don't even know at this point how much more it's gonna. I was figuring it was like 600 more, but now it's like, fuck, how much more is this gonna be? So, anyways, then, and I don't know if he's gonna stop today and say, well, this is how much it's gonna cost, and so do you want us to keep going? And he had already advised me, to not even do this, and this is probably why he's probably so frustrated. Probably knew, like, you got these problems, you're just gonna run into more problems, because he's a fucking mechanic and he sees this shit all the time, so now we'll see. This morning she said, well, you can call back before we close and check. I was like, we'll see. So I'm gonna call today and see, and then I'm gonna call first thing when they open. So if they haven't called me, even though their calls weren't going through, I still haven't gotten their voicemails or anything. So I don't know what the deal's going to be with that, but it's out of my hands. See, this is a thing where you got to trust, like, this is out of my hands. There's nothing I can do. I'm trying to do the things that are available, but that's the magical thing, is like, if the universe wanted that thing fixed, the part would have been there, it would have been in it, it would have already been done. So there's more to the story. There's always more to the story. And I don't know if it's like this guy needs money, and so it's like the universe is making sure we all have to give him a lot. Like, I'm not sure. But the universe has a way of doing things. This is the thing, is where this timeline jumping thing. So Crystal had said something about, I think somebody who she follows, because I know everybody follows all these different people. Like, and some people follow, like, some of you guys probably follow the same people, but some of you guys probably follow some different people, and there's a lot of different information you're getting, and it's you who has to figure out your discernment. You have to figure out what makes sense to you. Like, all of us saying what makes sense to us, you got to decide what makes sense to you. Some of these people, what I'm saying is, I don't know how much effort they've put into understanding spirituality before they start just saying a bunch of stuff. So I don't know if it's ever even been their focus, because to me this timeline jumping thing seems absurd, and it seems to be like another desperate attempt to control something that has no control. And then the thing that gets me too is, like, if we're jumping timelines, because it's all day long, I see videos. Oh, we just jumped timelines. Oh, we're jumping timelines. Oh, how's it feel to be in your new timeline and stuff? It's like, feels exactly the same. Nothing's changed. Like, I still don't have a car sitting here. Nothing's changed. Like, what is this timeline jumping we're doing? And who's in control of it? So if this guy was supposed to die and then he didn't, so it shifts us all into a new timeline, but where does my timeline change? What's going on? Like, my clothes are the same, my shoes are the same, my hair is the same, my body's the same. Like, what is shifted? Like, this is just mental to me. Like, what are you always talking about? Where give us what timeline we were on, and then what new one we're on. Like, what are you fucking talking about to me? So, to me, that is absurd. And then when I think of it, and I think of, like, so this person, so somebody over there that I don't know anything about, and they were supposed to die today, but they jumped timelines and they didn't, so they shifted us all. We've all shifted timelines now. Everybody in the collective, we've all changed timelines because this person changed timelines. It's like, okay, so this is how I see things, and it's gonna be, because it is convoluted, and it is hard to bring all the pieces in together. But so life to me is destined. It's a destined event. And your challenge is to come to being able to put your hands up, just like what I'm talking about with the car. Being able to be like, well, it's out of my control. The universe obviously has a plan. It's got something going on. It's wanting me to stay put, obviously, or it would give me wheels. It would give me wings. It would do something. And so it's obviously doesn't want me somewhere. And so that's where you've got to learn to trust the signs and to see. And that is the challenge in life, is to go with the flow and to be present in the moment. Like all these other people, like, I don't even fucking know what the hell their challenge is. Hold on to your timeline till you jump. Like, look, I don't, jeez. So and maybe the original person who started all this was talking about it in a complex manner, that was talking about something else, and people who didn't have the understanding of the level he was talking took it in another level and tried to make it fit to their understanding. And so that's where they came up with this, this, we're jumping timelines. We just jumped timelines. It's like, I swear to God, I just can't even believe it. It's like becoming a catchphrase. Hey, what timeline you on today? We just jumped timelines. Where are you at? I'm the same place I was yesterday. So anyways, these timeline jumps don't have any relevance in my life, is what I'm saying. So, so you have this life, and you are birthed in. So these souls that we are maintaining, these outfits that we get all hung up on, that we are birthed into this realm, into this reality. We aren't all birthed into the same reality. It's like the multiverse to me is like a multi theater. Like when you go to one of those theaters and you go to see a movie, and it's like 25 movies in this one theater, and it's got all these doors. That, all these doors are all these portals, and the doors are all around us. You can go, just like I was saying yesterday, when my brother walked in, he was leaving one reality, coming into an unexpected reality. He didn't know he was walking in on, luckily he walked in where he did, and didn't walk in on a bloody corpse, but it was never going to happen unless it was supposed to happen. So that is because destiny. It wasn't like, oh, I had a near miss. No, it was a very scary event. It was very intense, and I thought that was going to be my last moments on earth. Definitely, it was intense. I could feel how much he wanted to kill me. I knew. Well, at this point, I don't think I had known. Like, the marriage counselor hadn't called and told me or anything. I just knew. Like, he was so violent with me. He hated me. Like, he hated me. I remember this one time. I was young, too. And I remember this one time, I was at our house, and I was doing stuff, taking care of our kids and stuff. We had this little apartment. And he comes walking in with some guy I don't even know. And the guy says something about, your wife's so pretty. And he was like, she's just a fucking bitch. Like, what the fuck did I ever do? He just hated women. Like, this thing inside of people. But see, there's women out there who hate themselves so much that they go be around people who hate them. So, we've all, any women who have hated themselves have been through some shit. So, I was one of them. So, mine lasted for a long time. And it was several different people. But, so anyways, that is a portal entrance. You're entering a different reality. He's leaving one reality, so a portal, the door. That's why doors are often portals, mirrors, reflection. Because even think about, like, if you were looking into water, staring at yourself, and then you go into this space in your mind of a fantasy, a memory, or something. It was like the water was a portal that led you into a different place. And so there is this reflection. This is why this, I think about this, the way this thing that is going to happen, this awakening part with this reflection, is this being able to see yourself, and see yourself like you've never seen yourself before, because you're going to see your whole self, where everybody's always just looking at the surface. They're looking at the surface of themselves. They're very concerned about the surface. And so that is why we're going to see the other side. Like, this is a blessing, and a blessing in disguise, a blessing for us to get to have this experience, to get to it isn't just visualize, but it is kind of visualized on a sense, but to see our whole selves, to experience our whole selves by seeing ourselves through this, how it's going to occur. It's like, to me, it is the way that people are becoming so rude and nasty about stuff. Like these people, like, because there's a whole bunch of people who are saying stuff like, well, I should have got him, and all that stuff, and showing that how hateful they are. Like, somebody who doesn't agree with you, you just want them dead. Like, what kind of person are you? Like, you obviously don't have I mean, like, seriously, if you don't have the ability to be around people who don't agree with you, like, that's you. Isn't like they're the problem. So these people who are having these certain attitudes, why I keep saying it's like they're locking in on their attitudes so that they make sure that they see it when this occurs, because that's what they're going to see, this really hateful side of themselves. And that is where, the rest of us can see it, but they can't see it because they're motivated by fear or something. And so they haven't witnessed themselves, even though we can see it. But so they will see it from a different perspective. That's why I said it's like a life review while you're alive. But it's going to be so hard. It's going to be so hard. People don't realize how hard it is. And that's why it's called the dark night of the soul. That's why it's and it's very painful to go through, to see this side of yourself, to face your dark side. And so, my dark side was a weak ass bitch. She hated herself, and she just, like, anybody who hated her, come on to the party. Let's all have a party together. That's why I can feel the pain when that girl's like, I hate myself. And it's very painful to see people hate themselves because they hate their body. They hate the way they look and stuff. It's like, all that changes when you start loving yourself. It's crazy. So, anyways, okay, I'm just getting off. I'm going all over the place. Okay, let me think. So, because I feel like I want to go back to the birth thing. So when you are birthed in, so think of us, as souls, as cells. Think of an experience as a creation of something, of a being, but it's like creating this universal mind through every possibility. So we are the cells, the souls of all possibilities. We are these sub-creators. We are of how creation is created. Like, we're the worker bees for the universe. That's the kind of souls we are. We are creators. We make things happen. We go out for the experiences. Just like I've said, like, we have souls that sit and watch. We have souls that have done it, like, but they've advanced. Because everything is about advancing your soul. And so it's but it can take a long, long time. So anyways, so an experience. So say an age. So let's say, let's look at it like a cartoon or something. So let's say, the universe pops up like, well, this new age is coming. We've got all these roles that need to be filled. So we all line up. We all want these roles. We want a chance at one of these roles. Like, oh, damn, there's going to be some good lessons in there. We all want to roll in this. And we line up, and we have multiple roles through multiple different experiences. And so we have all of these, it's like your script is given to you for these roles. And how it is for the universe is like, yeah, every single thing can happen, but everything single thing is happening. It's just not happening for you, it's happening for everyone. So every possibility, and it's kind of like there's these templates. Like you come in, like your roles, there's these templates. And so we take these template roles and then we elaborate ourselves into it so that we can see ourselves in these roles, so we can identify ourselves as our own being, so that we can understand ourselves. And so we go through this this birthing process to come into this reality. But the other thing too is all these people keep thinking we're all in the same reality because we're all like in a common space. But that's why I say you got to think more of these multiplex theaters, and that these are all different realities. Like it was a different reality to be in the Middle East, even if there was a group, an overseeing group who tried to blend us all in together because they wanted control over the mass. But these places are all different realities, and even in different spaces, the people all don't know each other. You know your soul group, the people who are supposed to come into your life. And that's the thing, is when your script has got all that in there, who's coming in, who's coming out, how it affected you. And so it's written in stone. You are in the slowed down version so you can watch, but it's written in stone, like who you're going to encounter. And so your ride is created at this point, this entry point, where your ride is established. So you're going to go this direction, and you're going to meet these people. These things are going to happen. It's going to push you in this direction. These things are going to happen. And along your route, when you get further down it and you look back, you see that you had people come in to your situation at different times to show you and teach you things. And sometimes you were oblivious to it, and sometimes you just put it in your pocket and it was planting a seed for you. And so you held on to that, and then something happened further down the road where all of a sudden this other thing made sense. So you begin to make sense of things as you are establishing yourself as a being through your learning technique. And so but you're always going to do what you're going to do. You're always going to meet the people who you're going to meet. You're always going to remember when you remember. You're always going to make that bad decision. You're always going to make a good decision. You're like, all these things are all set. Like it's always going to happen the way it's going to happen. And so when you are birthed in, you're birthed into, like, to me, I see it as like you're waiting in the line, you get into this ride, yeah, totally, like you get into this ride, how we wait in the line and we build a roller coaster, because this is a roller coaster. And that's even what they had showed me that one time when they took me out into space. Excuse me, she starts moving out when I say they took me, because they did. They took me out into space. And space is just a place. It's like a dark room where you can understand things. And so it was, but that's how I was shown. It was a roller coaster. And it was like a roller coaster, because when I had said, when I was getting close to it, it was kind of a horrible thing, because it was so intense, because I could feel this thing going through me as I was watching it go through there, and I could feel all the emotions. It was if I was the universe, and I could feel all the pain and suffering, and I could see it was cycles, and I could see how it was this ride of cycles, and I could see how the collective would move together through the cycles. And so it was intense, man. But anyways, so you were birthed into this ride, and each of these cars has a slot. And any of us who were roller coaster people, we knew, like, it's a different ride if you get in the first car, the first buggy, or the second, or the third. and or like people who love roller coasters, they'll try and get in specific cars, in specific seats. And so but because each seat is its own reality. And so think of the car unit as being your soul group. So you are all birthed in. You don't have to be birthed in all at the same time. You're birthed in when you're supposed to come in, because it's all set. And so all of your soul group will be birthed in, and so that everybody's there for these encounters. And it's, your soul group is way more vast than you think. Like, people all, well, my family, I don't even know these people. I was born to these people, I don't even know them. It's like, well, I'm gonna be a difficult thing. But because it's more like you're in this big soul group, and it's more like, okay, well, I'm gonna be your kid, you're gonna be like, it's more like that kind of thing. And you're just thrown in. Like, that is another thing where people just, they don't look at the universe as their friend. So your soul group gets birthed onto this ride, and so your ride begins, and you'll all encounter each other. You're always going to do what you're going to do. You're always going to say what you're going to say, and the encounter is always going to go the way that they go. So that is where, and to me, that is called destiny. That is called divine timing. That is, everything is set. And the challenge for the soul is to be able to not get caught up in fear and this, what we see happening. It's all out of their control, and they're trying to escape it. And I swear, I just don't even understand this timeline jumping. I mean, somebody, because to me, it's like all of us are playing all the roles, so that the universe has all the roles play out. Like, we've all filled them up. We're playing all these roles because anything can happen. So it's like, take an age, so take a life, and let's encounter how many different situations can happen for that. We all line up, we get the parts are filled, we come in and experience and play out the roles and play our parts, so that we learn from it, and the whole universe learns from it. It's an expansion, and the universe keeps growing because we keep going in and experiencing, and it's an expansion. And so the people, so to me, it is the things that we were working on is learning how to trust the universe, learning how to communicate with the universe. And they communicate through telepathy, through signs, through just speaking words in your head. They'll just say some words, they'll put some pictures in your head, put desire. And there's a difference in desire. That's where you got to find your difference in the desire from where your road to self is, and the one where you think like, well, that's what I really want, and that people go towards this other thing, because like, for a huge amount of people in our society, you all just want to be famous just for being famous. Well, that's because they all have a sense of self, and they all need everybody else to tell them they're okay. And so they're not going to go become famous so that everybody can tell them they're okay. Well, we have had that happen on some things, but that is for all the different people's lessons who it affects. But for the majority, because we have so many people, like, that's their number one desire, become rich and famous and own fancy cars and stuff. And so they that's what they want to go towards, but it has to do with what it is they're trying to get for it. They're trying to feel better about themselves through this artificial means. And so the universe is not going to be like, oh yeah, that'll be fun, get on that timeline, we'll take you there. And that's what people keep acting like. Like, the universe doesn't have a plan. We're just all here. The universe is just like, oh, is that what your plan is today? Okay, well, let me see. We'll work on it. Let's see. It's like, even when I hear these tarot people, oh, well, you reached your goals way sooner. The universe is scrambling to try and give you what you're working on. And it's like, what? The universe knows exactly what day. Like, the universe is set on divine timing. Like, and it's not about time. It's not about, like, what time is it? It is this clicking, click, 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 like this everything, like the ride, everything has exactly where it's supposed to be when it's supposed to be. The ride can't be over here when it's over here. So you've got to learn how to, let go in the ride, how to enjoy the ride, how to, no, the ride's going to be fine. I'm going to get to the other side. Well, not everybody's getting to the other side. Some people are falling out, like lately. There's disasters and everything that can happen. Like I said, if anything can happen, it's going to happen. And it is happening. And that is, for the universe's entertainment. And these players came to play those parts. And the people, they may be shocked until they get over to see, like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. So, we don't need to freak out about all these things. These souls came in for these storylines. And we, as other souls, have to find our own peace as all these other souls play out their storylines. And that's this creating this collective, is us to become aware of each other, aware of other people's realities and other experiences. And that is where, as people wake up, they're like, oh, they're NPCs. Oh, they have nothing to do with me, so obviously their life is, doesn't matter. It's like, so this is this combination being created, like a combination pizza of all these different realities. So we're all coming in to this merge of realities. And to me, it seems like in different realities that different things happened at different times. And that is why there's all this, like, Bob Barker died, and this the third time he died. Like, all these people, because there's a whole bunch that just went, and people are just freaking out. No, they already died. No, they're, and so all these people are freaking out. Well, in your reality, which is separate from everybody else's reality, then that could have been how it went. There's not all things that had us in the same reality. Some of us, we had the same experiences, but it was from different perspectives. Like, just think about the towers and how it was affected everybody in different ways. And so there's a common experience that affects us all in different ways. So it's all these different perspectives that still go out. That's this bleed out of this energy of perspective into the universe. And so that is already occurring. The universe doesn't have us line up to all play the same part. The universe isn't just standing there waiting for us to develop our part. This isn't improv. This is fucking set. Like, you are who you are, and you're here to find out who you are. And so, and you have guides there that are trying to talk you through it and help you along your path. And everybody has different times of waking up to themselves, to this experience. But as all of this combination, because you think, like, in some other places, like the towers, like, I mean, how much did it affect people in Romania? How much did it affect people in maybe people who wanted to travel all the time? Then they had more hassles coming to America. But for the most part, things that happen in different places, like a big storm happens in Japan, and what does it have to do with us? So in that reality, their whole world could be falling apart. And in ours, we've got a hot day. So that's different realities. The souls that are in that, we can't discount that. We can't act like that's not profound, what's happening for these souls, because that's their reality. And all these different realities are blowing themselves up all over the place. So realities are ending is for new beginnings, because we're going into create a new reality where we are all more figuratively connected, that we do take it more, something more serious about our connections to one another and our interactions. And so we are, but it's still going to be, even after all this stuff, it's like we're creating a collective consciousness, but we're still going to go into this thing where it's going to be all these separate realities. Yesterday I was even thinking so much about this, like with the laws and stuff, and how they really wanted us to get, at some point, these people, this is how far back this shit goes, is that they wanted us under this federal law because state and cities was too flexible. So they wanted us to feel like we had this federal government over us. And but some people have fucking the crown. We got the kings and the queens. Like if the village has still got the kings and the queens, like it's mental. So they wanted us to feel that we had this governing force over us and have us all take a knee and submit to this force that they say they have over us. But that is a part of the awakening, is seeing like, no, you don't have shit over me. So back the fuck up. And but what is one person, we just sound crazy. That's why we need the collective. We need everybody to get on the same boat, the same train. We got to get everybody on the same wavelength. That's what is going on with the creating the collective consciousness, is getting us to all be on the same wavelength so that we do create this change. And then it's going to still go back to selves, where these villages and places will still go into their own realities, their own rules, their own experiences. And that gives us opportunities to go into different places and have different experiences. And so that is, everything is these different realities. Well, in some realities here, like in the ocean, it's a different reality. And that's a real world. All those beings, like, and there's intelligence in there. There's intelligence in the ocean having experiences. And so we have different realms. There's even inner earth. We have in the sky. And it's all based on frequency, all outside of the ice wall. The ice wall in the firmament was meant to contain us through this learning. That's why I think that this explosive thing that happens is what takes us out of this containment, so that we can open up to the rest of the universe for our experience. But it's not for everybody, because not everybody's in that place. I mean, there's so many people are scared of their fucking shadows, man. They're scared of everything. And so this is like the universe giving people opportunity to heal, to change, to expand and stuff as this continues, because we're going into this time and space where it's going to be like, where it is more open, and where you do have to be more tuned into the rule book that's inside of you. Not that you need to do something because you don't want to go to jail. It's because you want to do something because you don't want to put that energy out, and it's more out of respect for other beings and the universe and stuff. So we change from this murdering society into a peaceful society through this. But it's the peacemakers that take us there, the people who want to solve things by doing other people in and stuff. They won't go forward in this game, which where I'm saying is I'm not sure what I would say. That just binds them to where they can play the game, because it would still, everybody's a higher frequency than being here, so they would still be able to go back to their own home frequency. But if they wanted to gain more frequency and expand more, they'd have to still go back to a lower density to clean up their karmic messes. And they couldn't just leave them. That's why we're here at this time of reflection, to clean up our karmic messes, to let go of things, to see through things, to see ourselves, to heal. Then we have people coming into our lives that are from different past lives that we need to have healing with. And so we have all of these experiences happening to give us these opportunities of growth through reflection, so that we are prepared for what is to come. And not everybody is here for that. There's going to be a huge reduction in society that's going to happen. I mean, it already is happening, but there's going to be more. And like I've said before, like, I don't know if they're going to bomb a place and just wipe a whole place off of the map. Like, that's possible. And it's possible that they could do it over in the Middle East, because there has been the battles that have been going on there for a long time, and we have battles, like people are catching battles in the sky. There's energetic battles around us, these energies that have been going for eons. So there's a lot of hostility and tension that is leaving the planet in a deliberate fashion. And so there can be some places where there's going to be a mass amount of people that are wiped out all at once. I don't know. I can just see that very well being how the universe, like how things shift, because there has to be these huge shifts. But until some of these things happen, there will still be the things playing out, giving each soul opportunities to play their roles and stuff. And because everything is by this exact moment in time. And so, you know, it can be, because Turkey, they had a big storm. I was a couple years ago. It killed a whole bunch of people. So any of these places, like India, like if they, some of these places, when they have a flood, the people don't have places to go. I don't even think we're getting all the death reports from some of these crises and that stuff. Like there was like a place, I think over by Indonesia, that whole place went underwater. There's gonna keep being that. All these places along the shorelines in America are all going to be underwater. They're all like below sea level or something, and they're going to go below sea level. And we're going to all, it's like micro, macro, we're moving up. We're going to be moving up, like an elevation. We're elevating ourselves, and we're going to be moving up in elevation and to, well, safer places. But that is through this change. But it is like this micro, macro too. But so the so when you believe in life in this way, how I believe it works, it's this stuff that these people say, this timeline jumping, like what are you talking about? Like you're jumping out of your car and getting in somebody else's. Did you get on a whole nother group's car? Like what are you talking about? I don't understand. Like they're just, it's like they're just saying it just to say it. Where's your proof? Where are you showing that you were on one timeline, and then we all jumped, and now you're on a completely different timeline? How is that? You're just telling yourself that so that as the day goes on, then you think, well, I'm on a new timeline. Well, as far as I understand, to get on a new timeline, you have to do the work. You have to work your ass off to get to the timeline where to move from the timeline of hating yourself to loving yourself. That's the only timelines that I can see. You're on a timeline of hating yourself, and then you can get on the timeline of loving yourself. You're always going to do it when you're going to do it. It's not like you're going to surprise the universe. Oh, you did it faster than you could. How can you do it faster than you can when each and every encounter that you're supposed to have to teach you is already set in stone? You sped it up that day. You went through life real fast that day. Like, it makes no sense. And it's like, I don't understand on this level of like how people look at things. Like, so everything is so fixed in time of when you're going to encounter it, that how do you speed up through it? And why talking about all this timeline jumping? Like, did somebody seriously get up in the morning and, you know, they had a different car sitting out, they walked outside, their different wife came out? Like, what is the thing that gives you the idea that you're on a different timeline? Just because someone said it? Someone said, oh, we're on a different timeline, so you're just like, oh, we're on a different timeline. Like, and then the absurdity too, because this whole thing with T-Dog, D-Dog, T is so Donald. So this whole thing, well, even when he came out to the RNC thing, he had the Band-Aid on the other ear. Like, this is the thing to get people to be like, this is all supposed to get people talking. Like, there's people doing all these elaborate videos showing like how they do these blood things, and breaking down like the Secret Service. Like, this one lady, she's standing out there, she pulls her gun out of the holster, she can't get it back in. She's just like, and because a lot of these people are actors and stuff, they're not even real people. Like, some of the people who were in those roles were committing crimes, and they've already been arrested. And so they have other people playing the roles to play out the whole thing, and then probably to lead to more arrests and stuff. Like, it's an elaborate scheme of showing us the truth and waking us up. And so it's very complex. It is very convoluted in order to establish this new reality. And so, when I see these people who they keep on talking like, well, you've really surprised your guides. They were not expecting you to be able to work through that. What? What are you talking about? Like, I swear to God, when I see these tarot readers and these I don't know, spiritual people who say this kind of stuff, I'm just like, oh my God, that is absurd. To me, that's absurd. Like, I don't know. I mean, if somebody could show me more of the facts, this is where I feel like this is the same experience as when I was in church. I would be in church and I'd be like, oh, no, this is it. But like, well, I don't feel it. I don't feel it. I don't see it. It makes no sense to me. It like goes in my mind and it's just wah, 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 wah. It's stupid. Like, I don't get it. And so there has to be something that is more shown to me. Because I understand, like, every possibility is possible, but we aren't just shifting around through our day. We aren't just changing things. And it's kind of like a written agreement. Like, well, maybe we have these abilities, is that we can just be wherever we want to be, and we can be whatever life we want to be. But that's in the heavens. That's where we reside. So, yeah, that's a part of existence. But in this game of life, this experience that we're here to learn from, it's a set thing. You can't just be changing it. But as we go forward and we detach from this old reality, detach from who we were to our flesh and blood side of ourselves, we detach from all that and we move forward, then we do become more, like, we elaborate more into the heavens, into who we are in the heavens. So that's why I'm saying that as we get into the age of Aquarius, we will go through and travel through portals and stuff like that. But and I don't think that is all regulated, but it isn't. It's not on a script. So I think there is a point, this break on through to the other side, this where the firmament, where our capsule goes, but it is still, you as the being has to be in a point of this symbiotic relationship with the universe before you can just be out there changing shit. So that is why it's in the heavens, and it's only, you can only change this shit based on your abilities through your frequency. So I mean, just imagine the world if we were all just changing stuff every day. Just like, well, I don't like this timeline, I'm just going to change everybody's timeline today. It's like, I don't know, it's so weird. I don't get it. And so, but it does make total sense to me, because it is in my experience of being able to let go of the ride and let the ride take you where it's taking you, and to trust that that is the journey you came here for, and to not feel like I'm, I mean, I think most of us go through life, like as what is that called when you are the person in the car and you're sitting in the passenger, when you're the passenger of the car, and every time, like, I'm horrible at this. Like, if my kids are driving me around, I'm constantly slamming my feet on the ground, and they're like, oh my God, Mom. I'm like, I'm just sitting here. It was a leg reaction. It's like, I'm constantly braced for impact. But I have been in a lot of wrecks that I wasn't driving, where I was a passenger, and it does make me very PTSD. It's like, whoa. Like, fuck, some of them are intense, man. Like, if you've ever been a passenger and been in a bad wreck, it's intense. And one of them was the boyfriend when I was 16, and he had one of those muscle cars. He had a Mustang Mach 1, I think it was. Because back then the guys were very into their cars. And they would tell you all about them, what kind of motor. It's got a 360 with a beveled carbonator stuff. Like, wow, that's so cool. So he had one of those, and there was this one road after we would leave my, I was like after Forest Lane. I'm trying to think. It was Marsh. I think it was Marsh. I don't know. I can't remember, but it was this long road where there was stuff on the road, but there wasn't any lights or anything. And so it was one of those roads where, and I've been in motorcycle ones too, with boyfriends on motorcycles where people have hit into us. So this was New Year's Eve, I guess, or it was a couple days before. It was in between Christmas and New Year's, I guess. And so he floored it. And we're going like 100. And this is back, like, I don't even think we wore seatbelts. Well, maybe I did have a seatbelt on. I don't remember. I don't remember. But I've got something stuck in my mind about it. But anyways, but yeah, seatbelts weren't like a thing. You didn't have airbags and stuff. But the cars were a lot more solid. So they didn't just crumble when you hit. They were like, had an impact, and I think when they're made out of metal and steel too, they don't crumble. So a lot of car wrecks weren't as bad as what they could, like what we have them now. And so he's flying down the road. These drunk people are leaving a party and just pull right in front of us. Like, they couldn't tell how fast he was going. They didn't stop and pay attention. Like, are those lights moving a little fast? No, they just pulled right out in front of us. And they were that close that we smashed into them. And I hit into the windshield, and it made a big break in it and stuff. And I don't remember, that's where I'm saying that the cops had said I was lucky not to go through it or something, because nothing can happen that's not supposed to happen. They did break my nose, but you know, I was fine. But those things are scary when you're the passenger. Another one, when my friend and she had a little sports car, and we would always go and drive to other cities and states and go to concerts and stuff. And we had gone somewhere, and we were driving out on some old country road and going probably pretty fast, and somebody did the same thing and pulled right out in front of us, and she slammed on the brakes, and we went to turn sideways, and we're sliding sideways into this car, and so we're gonna hit on my side. I jump up and jump over on the thing. It's like, fuck. And it all was happening in slow motion. We didn't smash into him though. I don't think, I think we just slid in and just like, whoa. It was fucking intense though. And also when I was on a motorcycle, my boyfriend's motorcycle, and we were over by the mall, and we were in this lane, and then the people in the middle lane just decided they wanted to go to the mall, so just turned right into us, didn't even see us at all. So, and then I also had the one where I was driving myself, and I was behind this big Mack truck, and I don't know what was about to happen. I just remember I knew it was about to be a wreck, and I knew there was nothing I could do, so I just shut my eyes and braced for impact, and nothing happened, and I opened my eyes, and I was on the other side of the truck. So I was like, well, magic. There's magic out here. So but the magic was always being shown to me. Like I said, they were always talking to me. They were always watching. Like, you know, when you start talking to a 3-year-old and telling them, like, you know what they're doing and stuff. Like, I always knew the magic was there, and I always, like, I would tell them to wake me up. I didn't use an alarm clock. I always talked to these beings and stuff. So. And so but the magic was being shown to me through life. Like, I was seeing these different things, and I could go through like lots of different things that I have seen. I think we've all seen things. I think now people are starting to be like, oh, well, this happened and that happened and this happened. But they're just like all in denial. I was never in denial. I knew there was magic. I didn't care how many people, just like right now. I don't care how many people say we're timeline jumping. I'm not timeline jumping. Nothing's the same. I mean, nothing's changed for me. It's the exact same. I'm going to do the exact same thing today that I did yesterday. Maybe, though, I'll get my car. Maybe that, yeah, that'll happen. But I'm not sure, how these people think, like, oh, well, you're on a new timeline, so you will never get your car again. It's like, well, then I would have never gotten my car again no matter what. That was always going to be the thing that was going to happen. So I don't know how that has anything to do with your timeline jump. To me, it is, like I've said, the universe has every possibility of thing to play out, but we're all playing out every possibility. And so everything, like, yeah, I could go there and turn this way and it would be a whole different thing, but that's not what's going to happen. I'm going to go there and I'm going to turn the way I was always going to turn. I'm going to encounter the people I was always going to encounter. I can't go the wrong direction. And even when you are trying to go in the wrong direction, because you'll be allowed in life, you'll be allowed to go in the wrong direction, then it will pull you back through these situations, like these magical things that, well, I should have died. I should have died. That's a big one where all these people are like, well, I'm sure I died. It's like, but you are still in the same life. You're still in the exact same situation, but you're sure that you died. In mine, it was because there was a point in time where I was like, I don't think I ever got out of the hospital. I think I'm still in the hospital. I think I'm just imagining all this. But I was in a different life. Things had changed. Like everything had changed in my life. When I got out of the hospital, everything had changed and people were coming up to me. I didn't recognize them. And this happened, just the other day over here was, I was out walking the dog, and this one lady, she always comes out of their house, and she always like, hey, Kelly, hey, Stella, and I met her, like we exchanged names and stuff, but I don't remember her name, like I don't remember people's names, and, I was never good at names anyways, but then after my brain injury, I was like, oh, forget about it, and but the thing that is more than that is like I can recognize this person because that's what they do, is come out on their porch and I know she lives there, I recognize her and stuff like that. But you take her out of that scenario and say you put her in Fred Meyer's and I'm going Fred Meyer's and she comes walking up to me and starts talking to me, I won't have a fucking clue who she is. It's like, that's why I was really surprised that other day where I recognized that new neighbor guy. When he, but I think it does have something to do with like if you can register something about them. Like I saw that in a movie where somebody had an injury that happened where they stopped being able to recognize faces. And that is the same thing what happened with me too, is like faces kept rearranging. I couldn't, it's weird. And, but it is like if you can find something on their face. And so yesterday when she walked by, I was like trying to register her face, like her glasses, and she had some hat on and stuff. But I was like, man, if I saw her at the store and she didn't have that on and she wasn't on her porch, I wouldn't have a clue who she was. And that is, the same with a lot of people. And I think that I've hurt a lot of people's feelings from that because they think like I know them and I could know you, but I have to know you in that scenario. Outside of there, you have to like be like, oh, I'm your neighbor, but people don't realize like that you have a brain. Like I know you, but I can't recognize you. And then I also have that problem with names. So, anyways, but when I did see that guy, I did feel like, oh, well, maybe I'm getting better. Maybe I'm be able to recognize people more. Maybe I'm starting to be able to put landmarks on their face more in my mind and I can see them. It still is weird though a lot of times because like if I try and picture someone in my head and then I see them, they don't look the same as how I picture. And so, I don't know, it still is like about healing and stuff. And then plus one thing I have figured out too through having a brain injury and stuff was that accessing isn't just in your mind. The accessing is this other realm. It's like you don't have to have all your memories in your mind. That's something that they really tried to get me to understand when I lost all my photos and stuff, and it was so traumatic. And it was like, you don't need those. You've got it all right there. All your memories are there. It may be harder to access, to go in to, I don't know, the Akashic records or something, go into this other space to access rather than just look in your phone or look on the iCloud or whatever, but you have everything is registered inside of you. So we don't need to rely on these other things. Those things dumb us down. So we don't develop our abilities. Instead, we become more dependent on what they offer, which is making us dumber and less skilled at what we're really skilled at. And that is why this part of this breaking free from this dimension is breaking us more into who we are, where we do have more control. We can access our memories. We can develop these other parts of ourselves, like your telepathy and your the stuff being able to move things, like to be able to, because you are energy, so to be able to use your energy rather than be restricted by you thinking that you are this body. So to be able to access the true you through you and be able to develop that part of you. But that's the part of us that they want to keep stifled and keep small, because we are so much more developed than them. We're so much more powerful than them. It's like all these angels being born into hell, and they want us to not know that we're angels, so that they can control us. And that is where I said, like, this getting all these fairies drunk or something and getting them to do corrupted things, so that then the fairies have to face themselves. And and it's going to be a hard thing when people begin to face themselves and see this dark side of themselves, because it comes from inside of you, and they just coax it out of you because they want you to feel bad about yourself. But you as an eternal being, you have to override and remember that this is not real. This is a part of you getting to see yourself, but that doesn't mean you are really this devilish person who just follows impulses and does nasty things and stuff. But on those things, you got to learn how to forgive yourself. And this is something, like, right now, this is so wacky. I'm being haunted by a coat, and it is so fucking wacky. And it is even the point, like, if you've ever been gone out drinking and you passed out, and then in the middle of the night, here you are with your eyes just wide open, replaying everything you did during the night, every drunk ass thing you did, every stupid ass thing you said. And it's like, oh my God. And you just can't go back to sleep. It's just like, so you just got to play it all out, go over it so you can punish yourself. And that is like what I'm having with this coat. It's so fucking wacky. So, and I didn't even know my mom had kept this coat. So when I was a teenager, my mom and like I've said before, like, I was sent to charm school and stuff. My mom would go to fashion shows. Like, I don't know because if I said, like, we lived in a place where people thought I was like the richest kid in school. And so, but then if I asked my mom, it's like, we weren't rich. So, but so she got me this coat at this fashion show. It was a little jacket, and it was like the style back then. So it was like shorter, and it had long sleeves, it had real fur collar, and then the fabric it was made out of, it was like this suede, but it was not furry suede. It was like the softest leather that you can imagine. And so it was this tan kind of color, and it had this brown stretchy waistband, and it zipped, and it was a tighter jacket. And so when I was in high school, it would fit and stuff. And so then and my mom loved this jacket, and I never really got it. I at the time wanted my stuff just to be like everybody else's. I don't want to wear something different than everybody else. Just give me stuff that matches theirs. So I'm just a part of the crowd. So I get this part of our beings, that we are like that we just want to match. Like, where you have all these people, get this viral dress, let's all wear the same dress. Get the viral pants, let's all wear the same pants. Oh, we gotta all have the viral tank top. So anyways, but back then, I was more like, I felt like I was standing out anyways. I'm taller than everybody and it's like I've always felt like some sort of a standout freakazoid, and that was part of my challenges to get over in life. But anyway, so at some point, I think it was right, I was after I got divorced from my last husband. But that is when I went into the dark night. That is when I just started really going into my healing. And I was heavier, and man, just the whole thing was just like, when I look back at that, I was like, man, I was so troubled. And to me, I just look to me like I was troubled. And so that's how I see myself. It wasn't like I was real big or anything, but with those boobs and stuff. So my mom all of a sudden gave me that jacket. She had saved it all these years and gave me that jacket. And so I get that jacket and I'm looking at it. I'm like, this jacket is tiny. There's no fucking way I could fit in this jacket. I'm like, I've still got my brownie uniform she gave me, sitting back there. And so I was like, okay, what? I mean, that's stupid for me to keep this cute coat. Like, there's so many girls out there looking for vintage coats, like jackets. I should just donate it. So somebody who can actually wear it and have, like fun, having this cool coat that nobody else has, then I was like, I should donate it so somebody gets that experience, because there's lots of girls out there who are looking for these one-of-a-kind things. And so I donated it. And so now, all these years later, where I'm the same size I was in high school and don't have those anymore, and I know I could fit it. I know I could fit it. But it started coming back and haunting me. It starts like coming up, and like it keeps coming and coming and coming. Like this fucking coat. It's like, dude, this morning I'm like, okay, waking me up in the middle of the night with this fucking coat. It's like, what in the holy hell? And so this morning I'm like, okay, I gotta clear my mind. So I gotta let go of this coat, because I didn't know about this too before. When you give clothes away and stuff, you gotta do this energetic clearing thing. There's a whole thing. And that lady who does a lot of people like her. I think she was on Netflix, and she does the organizing and stuff. And she's more like feng shui kind of person or whatever. But she talks about this energetic thing that you got to do with your clothes before you give them away. You got to let go of them. You got to say goodbye and stuff. And so I didn't do any ceremony. I didn't know about all that. So I do have a few different clothes that just keep pulling me back. And this coat, though, is driving me fucking crazy. So then I was like, okay, but it can come back to you. Like, in the magic in the universe, this thing can come back to you. I've even been looking on eBay and Etsy and places looking for vintage jackets, and then that's only made me see how unique it really was. And that's just driving me more crazy. And then I found one. I was like, well, this is kind of similar. I could just get it, and would that, satisfy myself? I don't know. And so I had seen a video, though, where this woman wanted to get her son like a jeans jacket, because her husband had a picture of himself in one or something when he was little. I don't remember. But anyway, so she goes out and she gets this jeans jacket at the thrift store, and it's so cute. Ends up it was her son. It was her husband's, the same fucking one. So it was the one that he wore when he was a little kid, was back in the thrift store, and she got it and had his name and phone number in it. It was like, that is the magic of the universe. So I know if this energetic thing, if this coat is meant to come back to me, it will come back to me. And I don't know, what the deal is, if I'm supposed to be just letting it go. I've been trying to let it go, but man, it is weird, because it is like this drunken wake up of like, why did you do that? What did you do? God, why were you? It's like, oh my God, and you made the choice that you thought was the right thing at the time. So sometimes, like, our choices can just drive us insane. I swear to God. And we've all got to work through it ourselves. Like, I'm just, this coat thing, I don't even know. Because it's just started hitting me so hard, waking me up and stuff. I was like, what the holy hell? So anyways, I don't know. I've been talking a long fucking time. So hopefully I've said something to help somebody. But that is how I see things. And so, you know, some of these other people that you listen to, however they see things, if it makes sense to you, then that's fine. It can make sense to you. It's you are the receiver. You are the one trying to make sense of this place. So what makes sense to you is what you got to go with. If something somebody says makes sense to you, there's a lot of stuff I hear people saying that makes no sense to me. It doesn't go with my beliefs. It doesn't go. And mine, I've been going on this for a long time. Like, I was going up against my mom as a child about religion. So, I was going all by my internal. So this has been my, part of my thing. So I'm not going to just jump on board because somebody says, oh, this is what we're doing now. It's like, well, I'm not feeling it. I don't see it. No, it's not, that's not what I'm doing. So I don't know. I guess everybody who thinks they're doing it is doing it, but like, please elaborate and tell me more about this. What was your timeline before and what is it after? It's the only thing that I have really bared witness to me that really made me show where we are coming into this gravitation of realities was because Marianne Williamson wrote Celestine Prophecy when I was a kid. Like, I read it. That's why I liked her so much. I wouldn't have known who the hell that lady was. She wrote the Celestine Prophecy. And I thought it was the best book in the whole world. And then the second one. And then she wrote a third book. And I read it, and it was something about women power or something. And it didn't go with the first ones because I love the fantasy of the Celestine Prophecy, this perfect world. And so she wrote it. And then in this world, I was talking to somebody one time, and I said something about her writing. They're like, that's not who wrote the Celestine Prophecy. This other guy did. I was like, what? I went and looked it up. I was like, okay, I don't know what the fucking, where I ended up in this world. Like, where did I cross out? Was it at surgery, like these people are saying? Like, you went into surgery, you really died in that reality, and you came out in another one. But nothing, well, I did have things change. So, I don't know. But I hear people talking about, like, they had this near-death experience, and that they came out, and it was the same reality. Like, they still had the same spouse and stuff. Like, all my whole life changed. Like, the person I was married to moved out. Like, that still happened. He was still moving out. Like, I still saw him again. So it was still the same people around. It's just my whole life changed after. So I don't know. We all have to, figure it out and come to terms with whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I think I've explained it the best I can at this point. Like, if there's something, just ask me. If there's something that you want me to explain more, just ask me, and I'll explain it more the best I can. So, anyways, until then, just remember, what this is all about is learning how to love yourself, love everyone, and how to have a loving day, because it is up to you. So, I'll talk to you later. Bye.